to do any good if you just lay it there, right? You are walking around. You've got the power to change the lives. You've got the power to patch. You've got the power to change someone's finances. You've got the power to change someone's health. You've got the power. Say it, I've got the power. Awesome.
So who wants to operate in mighty power, miraculous power, yes? So as we begin, as Renita and I began, we want you to think about one word. We want you to think about power, your power. You were created in power. And power isn't something that you wait for to turn on. You activate it. Everybody hold up your phone. Is your phone more productive when it's off or when it's on? If your phone is off, imagine if you set it down and say, I'm wait for that phone to turn back on. I got to make a call, but I got to wait for it to turn on. I sure hope it turns on. I'm gonna manifest my phone to turn on. I'm gonna pray about it. I'm gonna talk about it. No, you make the decision, you choose to turn on the phone. The switch is in your hand for your power. You have what it takes. It's a choice. And so today we're going to talk about how to operate in mighty power.
So power versus force. All right, guys, this is what it's all about today. We're going to teach you how to become unstoppable. Of course, your thoughts, your words, your attitude. Every speaker leading up to this has been talking about these things, right? Scott Thomas, Steve Mayer. I mean, this has been incredible. Hasn't this event been incredible? Clap your hands if this has been incredible so far today. I mean, it's incredible, right? So we're going to teach you guys how to rise up. So first of all, let's talk about force. If you're forcing something, have you ever had to force someone to do something? How did it feel? I'm just going to say the word. If I have to force someone to do something, I don't feel good about it. If I have to force my kids to do something, it's kind of like I'm a nag. Come on, come on, come on, right? Right, guys? Do you like me to force you to do things? Bo's shaking his head. Okay, so force is driven by shame, guilt, grief, fear, desire, anger. Come on, get it done, right? And you guys know I'm tough love. But this morning, I mean, when I bleed red, white, and blue.
Oh,
my
wow.
dad was a Marine, so I can't stop crying when I see all you amazing servicemen. Thank you, servicemen and women, again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You know, my dad had 9 siblings, and you know that all those 9 siblings, they served in every single branch of the military. So we were a family of honor. We respect those that have gone before us and served. And I'm telling you that because, you know, I think that sometimes we think that force is motivating, and I'm guilty of it, because I'm like, come on, let's get it done, right? But at a certain point, what if that is actually bringing people down and not up? What if we started to empower people instead of forcing people? How many of you guys like that? To empower.
Empower.
Instead of force, right?
That's right.
So power, Scott, you want to discuss that?
Renita, before we jump to power, I want to give you a quick example on number 2. On force, and we're not going to stay here very long because we're going to talk about the solution and where we want to go. But 4 years ago, before LifeWave, I weighed 100 pounds more than I do today.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to have more energy.
He prayed about it.
I didn't like how I was feeling. You know what I mean? But my frequency was operating in sadness, fear, depression, anxiety, right? All those negative things.
And his story was?
Right, and I had identified with, I've got 7 knee surgeries. I used to be a really good athlete, you know, and now I'm broken down. And I hope, you know, so the difference, even in the room when I started talking about that, like it's a sadness, right?
Yeah.
There's no energy there. And it's such a difference when you can make the decision to realize you have the power, but you're not making your decisions because you're so sad, you want to get, and listen, it's easy to identify in those things when you're in the rut, right?
Right.
But it's also easy to make the decision to remember who you are. And so that's what I said, Scott, remember who you are.
Yep.
I started to make a list up my I am list. And I had a whole list, like 100 long, I am, and they were all powerful statements.
And he put them on the fridge, and I remember every time he'd want to go to the fridge and eat, because it's an emotional way of coping, right, guys? He would just read that list, and he'd walk away, and he'd go for a walk, he'd go walk the dog. He made different decisions, right? But he had to remind himself of who he was. He had to empower himself. So when you move from that shame and guilt and, you know, kind of that hardcore thing where they just beat you down and kick you like a dog, and then they build you back up, sometimes that's the military. I know that. My dad was a Marine. He did that with us kids sometimes. We felt like we were Marines, right? But I know that power, when you have power, it's going to push you up quicker, and you're moving from, you know, that state of joy, peace, love, acceptance, willingness, all those things. And do you guys know that you can actually measure frequency and energy? You can measure. This is not something, you know, we used to think, woo, 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 Woo! How many of you guys watched that show when we were kids?
Twilight
right?
Zone?
Yeah, Twilight Zone. And we watched that when we were kids, right? And so we thought it was just a far-fetched thing. The truth is now they have cameras, they have devices. Just ask David Schmidt, you can measure energy. How many of you could feel Joe's energy last night at his, I went out of here like that. I'm like, that was powerful. Let me explain to you energy and why it's a frequency. When people are operating on a low frequency like Eeyore or like a sloth, how frequency is measured, imagine like a wave of energy. And that energy, if it's a very slow, low wave, that's more like a sloth. Okay, it's from basically the top to the trough, the top to the trough. How long does it take to get from the top to the trough? Okay, and this low, I'm gonna do it at my pace. I'm going to go slow with my business. I actually thought about Steve Merritt. I had a vision. I just told Scott. I had a vision of Steve Merritt trying to barefoot water ski and someone pulling him slow. Oh, what a vision. I had that yesterday. Imagine if Steve said, hit it, how he does that, and then pull him slow. And the mouth would be open, sucking the water. You'd be dragging through the lake. Right, Steve? You got to hit it, and then you got to go. Right, we got to go. And so think about this back to that frequency. I want to teach you guys this because this is science. This is not hokey pokey. It's a very low, slow wave. Now, Joe last night, boom, 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 peak, trough, peak, trough, peak, trough, peak, trough. When you get around energy, that's why you feel it. It's a fast moving thing, and you're like, whoa, I felt that energy, versus someone who's slow. Okay, are you guys getting this? All right. So we're going to teach you this, and maybe you don't like David Hawkins. I don't care what you call this thing. We pulled it from the book, and I read this book, like, I'm not kidding, 20 years ago, I read this book, Power versus Force. Scott, you want to discuss this a little bit? Because this is a very big thing that you all should be learning and looking, and we're going to lay this over your life. Think about your own life, because this is not Scott and Renita. This is your life, your story. Everything that you think and do every day is going to be lined up with this.
Yeah, so like Renita said, this is actually measurable. God, you're so beautiful.
Come on.
Measurable by science, right? It's not something that's make-believe, that you can actually measure the frequency, the hertz of these different states. And so the lowest state of energy frequency, the slowest energy frequency is actually shame at 20 hertz. You see the number down there on the bottom. The highest frequency, energy getting there quickly. Everybody snap your fingers. Quickly, getting there quickly. Boom, 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 right? Enlightenment, peace, joy, love, right? And we see that's easy to understand because we all know when we operate down these lower frequencies, how do we feel?
Bad.
We're holding on to everything. I hope it doesn't get worse, right? Right? Versus on the top where it's expansive, it's energetic, you're in creation mode.
And they've actually said that, Scott, that when you have authenticity, when you're speaking from authenticity like Joe did last night, like Steve just did on the stage, when you're speaking from authenticity, do you guys know it's 4 times greater than love? They always thought love was like the top of the food chain, and now they found that people that are the most authentic are the highest radiating frequency on the planet. Those people are moving the needle. And I'm going to tell you what, they're from all walks of life and from every faith. This ain't just a Christian thing, guys. This is all walks of life are figuring this out, that we've got to increase our frequency. We got to align our thoughts, our words, and our actions with that top of everything above courage. And like I said to Scott, you know, how many of you know, I remember many years ago, I went to this thing called the Leadership Summit with Bill Hybels. He's got a big church in Chicago. And he said that sometimes when you're angry, it's a good thing. He called it, sometimes you have to get angry to go to the next level of your life. He actually called it holy discontent. If you've ever read the book, it's called Holy Discontent. And you have to get wholly discontent about something to change the game. Scott had to get mad about his weight. Actually, I should tell you what happened. Everybody always said to the boys, wow, you take after your mom. You're so fit and healthy. Do you know how that made him mad?
Well, I was proud of you and proud of the boys.
Yeah, but he was a high school and college athlete. So he's like, I'm done with this conversation, right? So some of you have to get a little angry about where you're at. That complacency is a thief. I'm telling you. Okay, passivity is a thief. I'm going to pray about it. I know so many people that have been praying about the same thing for 25 years and nothing looks different in their life. I'm like, you need to move, baby, into action. Let's go.
Hey, so okay. Renita, really quick, and then I'll kick it back to you, is anger is close to courage, isn't it? So someone earlier today said anger isn't always bad, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you frame it in the right way, it's close to courage. Who wants to double your chances of being successful in this business right now? Who wants to two times the chance of being successful? Who wants that?
Wow.
Double the chance.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers. Fear is at a 100.
Yeah.
What's doubled fear? Courage.
Courage is 200.
Courage is at 200. Do you want to double your chances? Now, who's been afraid at times in this business to approach somebody? Maybe afraid that they're going to judge you. They're not going to like what they're going to tell you something you didn't want to hear,
yeah.
right? Maybe you earned a check. You're afraid that you're not going to be able to earn that again. Maybe you're afraid you're not going to be able to get to the next rank or the next rank. And you're close to the next rank. You're close to the check.
Yep.
You're one step away, right? As we were taught earlier. Yep. And all you got to do is have courage. You're going to double your opportunity. And the good thing about courage, it's a decision. It's quick. It's a switch.
Yeah, because courage is on the way up, 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 right? And so think about love, people that operate from love. Think about people that patch and dance. Do any of you patch and dance? I mean, a couple of you, the rest of you probably need to start, okay? Because I'm going to tell you there's an energy about dancing and movement that people are attracted to. I mean, the closer you get to death, the slower you go. Have you ever went into a nursing home? They're all sitting around watching TV and they're feeding them Coke. They're waiting for them to die, give them diabetes, right? So we have to understand that movement is medicine. Movement is an energy. It increases your frequency. The best time to go make a phone call is go for a walk and then call someone. When you exercise, you become more energetic. You become unstoppable, guys. So you guys, did you take a picture of that? Because I want you to lay that against what you're looking at with your own life, your own words, your own choices, your own thoughts. Okay, because you got to change it, because force is going to drain you, power is going to expand you. I actually read this thing just recently. It said that when people are in a sickness state, they're small. And they did this study where they took people out and they had them get out of their house and get into like mountains and trees and beaches. And guess what? They said just them getting out of that small state, going to expansive, all of their cellular health was changing. There is something about expansion. I want to tell you this. The world wants you small. The media wants you small. I have this written down. The government knows what we're talking about with frequency and energy. The media knows it. Trust me, I was on the news for 8.5 years. The elites know it. Everybody knows about frequency, but they keep the majority of the population in fear. That's why they want you glued to the TV, right? They want you watching the fear-based economics to scare you. I'm like, we're not participating in the fear-based economics, baby. We're in LifeWave, right? Come on. All of that stuff is designed to keep you at a low vibration, because when you operate in fear, you're very controllable. Okay, so we're trying to get you out of survival mode into power mode. Say, I've got the power. You bet you do. So you can shift it instantly. I walk around my house saying, glory authority. I've got the glory authority. My boys have got the glory authority. Scott's got the glory authority. You've got the glory authority. What does that mean? The glory authority, heaven to earth, baby, right through me, out of my mouth. Let's go. That's what you guys got to step into.
That's right. So you were conditioned to feel and think and operate in a certain way. You were programmed that way, as Danny said, from a young age, right? By the age of 10, you've been programmed in your subconscious, right? And so that's how we operate. But who you've been is not your fault, right? But we need to stop giving CPR to the old you if it's not getting you the new you that you need to have to make the impact on your own life and your family and your community and the world, right?
Wow, wow. Some of you are hanging on too long for the past, the sins. You know, in biblical times, when someone would kill someone, they wouldn't just put them to death. They'd tie the dead person around their neck. Do you guys know this? In chains. Have you ever heard this? And they would walk around and they would drag that dead person around. And what would eventually happen to that alive person that was dragging the dead person he killed around? It would kill the alive person. Some of you you need to break the chains. That's why Jesus came, man.
Let's go. You can do it.
Yeah. So you guys got this. Force, you got it? Who do you want to operate from? Do you want to operate from force or power? Again, power is going to be creation. Say creation.
Creation.
God designed us to create. God designed us to build. The kid doesn't go to the beach. We live on a beach now. Thank you, Jesus. And thank you for this opportunity. We live on a beach, and I go to the beach every day, and I hear little kids say, Mommy, I want to build a sandcastle. They don't just say, Mommy, I want a sandcastle. They say, I want to
build.
We are designed innately by God to create. So when we go into management mode in our businesses, that is survival. That's why your business is sucking wind and shrinking, because you're not in creation mode. You need to get out of the house. Some of you need to quit doing food dudes, food delivery, groceries delivered, and go meet some friends at the grocery store. Seriously. Right, Scott?
Absolutely. So to change your outer world, you got to change your inner world. So have some awareness about what your thoughts are, right? Have some awareness. You know, what are you saying to yourself? And, you know, this is something that we should be teaching our kids in like kindergarten and first grade. But we kind of live in these 4 different dimensions. It's, you know, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, and your physical.
That's right.
You know, and your thoughts and your feelings and your faith, those 3 things create what you see in the physical, right? So to change your outer world, it starts here.
That's right. So look at this. Aware. Become aware of what you're saying. Become aware of what you're thinking. Sometimes I think a thought, and we got 3 boys, and sometimes I'll say something out loud, and my boys will say, well, that was the old Renita talking.
Right.
I mean, just get yourself some teenagers. That was the old Renita talking, because I'll say something like, oh, I can't afford that, or we can't do that. And they're like, where did that come from?
Does anybody else's kids hold you accountable? Right? Yeah. You told me.
If not, we'll borrow you ours. You can have them for a while. We'll hold you accountable, right? So look at awareness, intention, alignment, elevation, expansion, legacy. So here we go, guys. We want to get to the good stuff, right, Scott? Because it's time for the good stuff. So looking at that again, the daily alignment. Where are you at on that? Right? Where are you at?
Where are you at? You got to choose consciously. You have to make decisions intentionally. You're not waiting for it to happen. You're not waiting for your LifeWave business to build itself. Right? And you're not building a business, you're building people. So we have to be intentional. And to attract and to build people, you need to operate up here in this frequency. So I talked about the other day, Renita enrolled someone with LifeWave when she was shopping for shoes. When she was shopping for shoes, she was happy. You should see her shop for shoes. It's like I'd rather watch that than like ESPN, like Rita's coming in, she's so excited. Everybody's like, oh my God, who's that? You know, and she starts to point, you know, and she's complimenting other people. Oh my, your shoes look great, right? You guys, they're good at shopping. Anybody really, really good at shopping? Everybody really love it? Yeah. Oh my gosh, look at you. Oh wow, hey, oh my gosh, where are you from?
It was a high frequency, but I'm going to tell you, Scott, he's really getting out of hand with my shoe shopping. But what happened was, what really happened was see a need, fill a need. I walked in and this old dog Glab was walking like this through the store, and I'm like, what's going on with the dog? You know, and then of course we don't treat, cure, prevent any disease. You know, we don't treat animals, we don't treat children. But I thought, what the heck? I got this thing in my purse, I might as well throw it on, right? So I stopped the lady. I said, the dog's laying on the ground now, the dog can't move. And I'm just like, I leaned down, she goes, can you put it on right away? I told her what I had. And she said, yeah, and I put it on, and the dog stood up. And the lady walked out of the store, and I didn't even get that lady's name. But like Scott said, these 2 women were watching me like this with the dog. And they said, what is that? And you know what? That is sales 101. See a need, fill a need. Just be a good person. Like, I mean, unless you just hate dogs. Like, I love dogs. I love people. And so, I mean, I just literally, and then that lady, she was sitting there, did this. Scott didn't tell you, but she couldn't even walk. The lady experienced a miracle. 2 days later, she said, I'm going to bike to Seaside to meet you. I'm going to bike. And this lady couldn't walk. And then that same day, she said, oh, by the way, if this works for me, I've got 17 chiropractic clinics. Because I passed the dog, guys. See what I'm saying? Who was that lady with the dog? I'll find her again.
And so anyway. Renita created that, and she expanded our business, right? She connected with people because she was operating in this kind of magnetic frequency, right?
Right.
This place of joy. So guys, maybe you don't love shopping as much as I'm explaining Renita, you know. Find your happy place. Go there and meet people there.
The golf course. So every decision moves you up or down. Nothing is neutral in your life. Every thought you have, every action you take, you cannot maintain health. It's called the aging process, boys and girls. You've got to be moving in the direction of your dreams, always, right? So we got to lead with integrity, serve with humility. I want to get to the solutions because I want you guys to know what to do. You guys ready? So these are ways you can raise your frequency, and you should take a picture of this, and you're saying, that's a big list. Start with doing 1 of these things. Then tomorrow do 2. And then next week try with 3. But let's just go through very quickly. How many of you are starting your day with gratitude? Do you know that I've been teaching exercise for 30 years, right? You guys don't know this about me. I'm certified to teach 25 different modalities of fitness and nutrition. That was like my forte before light therapy. But truth is, every morning when I taught exercise, I taught it for free at a Christian church for about 100 women for 9 years at 5:30 a.m. for free. Do you know how hard it is to get up every morning at about 4:30 to go teach an exercise for free at a church that's kind of dark and dreary with gross carpet for that many years? It's not easy. In fact, the gal that came after me, she quit after a month. She was done with it. But do you know why I did it? Scott would hear me. I'd get out of bed. My feet would hit the floor. I'm not kidding. And I would say, thank you, Lord, for my physical body. Let's go move. And I'd say it out loud to myself. I'm the queen of positive thinking. You should hear me carry in the groceries. Like, I'm amazing at carrying in the bags. I'm like, God, you're good. You are so strong, Renita. Like, I'm the queen of positive self-talk, not because I'm a weirdo, because I understand frequency. Those people that walk around and say, I can't get rid of this. I can't. What are you saying? Your cells are listening. You're a cell phone, man. It's called cells for a reason. Okay? So start your day with gratitude. If you haven't done that, start. Get sunlight early. Move your body. We actually moved to the beach so we could get sunlight, earth, and move our bodies every day. How about breathing intentionally? Drinking water. And guess what? X2O makes it even better. Right? I mean, I didn't say that. David Schmidt says it increases your frequency, up to 273% bioelectrically. He's measuring this stuff, this dude. All right? Protect your sleep. Listen to uplifting music. Oh, by the way, the music used to be 432 hertz. And you know that you would drive in your car when the radio stations first came out, and you know that it would heal your nervous system when you were driving. This is a true story. The music would heal your nervous system. This is why there was so much less sickness. And guess what they did when Rockefeller came in? They said, we're not going to keep it at 432. We're going to jack it up to 440. And that disgruntled music, that irregular beat pattern, stresses out our nervous system and actually causes sickness. You've got to be mindful of what you're taking in. What you're taking in is affecting your overall health. Okay, so if you listen to 432 hertz music, it's a big deal. Spend time in nature. How many of you need to laugh more? Couple of you. All right, you got to hang out with Mikey. You'll be laughing all night. Choose your words carefully. Practice forgiveness. Don't carry around that weight anymore. That's dead weight. Serve someone. It's hard to think of yourself all the time when you're helping somebody else, right, guys? It's the quickest way to get your mind off yourself. How about surrounding yourself with high energy people?
Yeah, absolutely. I think of the highest energy people in the room, the people that, you're all admiring. Like, how do they do it, right? How do they have that kind of energy? Joe, Mike, Renita, Gina. How do they do it? Well, they're practicing a lot of these things, maybe intentionally. They train themselves to operate with that high level of frequency.
Yeah.
We should have that awareness and start to build. And it doesn't come naturally sometimes. You look at some of these lists. It doesn't come naturally to forgive. Always, right? Yeah. It's easier to hang on. The strongest, smartest person forgives the fastest.
Yeah.
When I talk to my boys, I said, it doesn't matter who's first. It doesn't matter how authentic you think that person's apology to you is. What's the goal? And you just move in the direction of that goal.
Always moving in the direction of the goal all the time. So, of course, read something that expands you. Do something difficult every day. That gets you that resolve and that grit strength that we've been talking about. Keep promises to yourself. Ed Milet says it. I've been listening for 10 years. He says the biggest way to build self-confidence is keep the promise you make to yourself. If I get up in the morning and say, I'm going to exercise, you can bet your money in your house that I'm going to be there exercising. That's just how I roll. That's why I'm confident. People that aren't confident don't keep promises to yourself. Start small. Say, I'm going to get up. I'm going to walk the dog for a block. It doesn't have to be big. And then, of course, keep living on purpose. But look at number 21. Don't forget this about increasing your frequency.
Put on X39.
And drink Celergize, because apparently it increases the mitochondria. And the mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell, and your entire life will be elevated when you do that. So this is what we got to do. Say it with me. Let's read it together. You got to think
higher.
Higher. Speak higher. Move higher. Surround yourself higher.
That's what you're doing here.
Higher. Live higher. God bless you guys. You got the power.
God bless you.